First, I will check whether the invited speaker and all presenters are already joined to this room. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 presenter. Okay, that's right. 8 presenters. Okay. And before we begin, I have to remind you that the invited speaker has around 20 minutes to deliver his or her speech, followed by 10 minutes for the discussion. And then each presenter will have 10 minutes for presenting their research. I will give you reminder, then there is 5 minutes remaining. 10 minutes for present the paper and 5 minutes for question. And we have also the question and answer pending. Okay, introduce the invited speaker. Let me introduce with the first presenter. I will call Mr. Daniel Yeri.
Yes, present, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes, that is enough.
Okay.
With the title Smart Course Broadcasting Design as effort to strengthen worship infrastructure at COVID-19 pandemic period. Okay, the time is yours. 10 minutes, 10 minutes for present your paper and 5 minutes for question.
Okay, maybe before we starting, maybe may I have your attention, please, because I have any schedule with the vaccination days today. So maybe after my presentation, maybe I can admit for you to out from the rooms because I am
Yeah.
have a schedule.
Okay, I think it's okay.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Yeah.
Right, wait for a second. Wait. Okay, my sorry. Okay, can you see my PPT?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon, Ms. Oki Dwi Nurhayati as chairman of this oral session today. Okay, okay. My name and my team is from Institute Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto. My name is Daniel Yeri, and my partner in this research is Miss Cecilia Tia Savitri. And today we are our research are talking about the smart church broadcasting design as effort to strengthen a worship infrastructure at COVID-19 pandemic period. Okay, let me explain. Yeah, this study, yeah, describe the design of the implementing smart church broadcasting in the church organization as an effort to strengthen religious facilities during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, the specific purpose of this research is to build and provide a pilot infrastructure to and a smart church broadcasting, or we call SGB, for incubator units that is a synergy with the church information system. So let me in the simple ways, yeah, table of content, there is any abstract, yeah. The abstract is the large scale policy of health protocol by the government of Indonesia has changed the worship habit of church congregation from offline to online. And my introduction, yeah, the outbreak of the COVID-19, yeah, as we know, yeah, pandemic in Indonesia has changed the fabric of society, including the church community, and there are need solution for the uh, inco- uh, for the congregation. Our research method, yeah, the digitalization process in this research is based on four principles, yeah, namely capture, encode, and then go live and retrieve or decode. Uh, and now our result and execution is in the implementation variable based on the smart city theory, yeah, which the conceptually divide into six variables, namely governance, economic, mobility, people, living, and life. And our conclusion, yeah, the simple conclusion is the SCP, yeah, application provide the flexibility for congregants, yeah, to be able to attend services synchronously or asynchronously in the midst of large scale social restriction set by Indonesian government. Okay, this is our research method and our design. Yeah, there are any capture, encode, go left, and decode. So the digitalization process in this research, yeah, is based on four principles, yeah, as we said above, namely capture, encode, collect, and retrieve or decode. Capture is the process of getting broadcast source from the hardware to processing it using software. Then encode, yeah, which the process to converting analog data into multimedia-based digital data. And then the fourth goal live is process bring together all audio data and visual data coming from the devices using the audio mixer. And then retrieve or decode, yeah. This is a process in the output of the ACP system design, and result of this progressing process can be converted into the many multimedia format. Okay, and the research has an idea that the strategy for implementing worship in the church can be done in different and more flexible way. And then worship strategies during the COVID-19 pandemic can be blend into real time and provide opportunities for congregants to attend and see worship on demand, on demand broadcast, known, yeah, as smart church broadcasting or abbreviation SCB. Furthermore, this research was conducted by in GBDE Church Parakletos Purwokerto as an incubator unit for implementation and design, and this research is going on. Yeah, the implementation variable based on the smart city theory, which conceptually divided into six, namely governance, economic, mobility, people, living, and life. The measurement formula is projected into the input function, output function, yeah, as follow. To measure the estimation of the effectiveness of the SCB design in this study, yeah, using the fuzzy logic method, yeah, the fuzzy method chosen by Tsukamoto, and the concept of Fauci domain determines is divided into classification and coverage, yeah, which later in the development of the FTB can be used as reference for future program development. And then the classification steps are divided into the three indicators, namely bad, neutral, and good. And then ranks is divided into the three things. There's well, namely less than 45 is we have can stereotype the bad range, and uh, 50 until 90, yeah, the stereotype is neutral, yeah, and then more than 50 is the stereotype is the good range, yeah, as a table one. And then we have to try to validate the system, yeah, and then the first phase, yeah, became the experimental physical implementation of SGB in the church worship. And then the second stage is application of assessment formulation using Tsukamoto fuzzy logic as a result discussion, where alpha predicate, yeah, minimum value of the degree of membership, and then seed I, this is a crisp value obtained from the formula degree pushy membership set with the output values, and then set center average diffuser. This is the our formulation to estimation of activeness of SCB. And then our conclusion is the implementation on the picture like this. Yeah, this is implementation of the SGB. Okay, the conclusion is the implementation of the smart church broadcasting or SCB design was successfully implemented at the KBD Parakritas Purwokerto Church service. And the SCB application was able to make a significant contribution to the services of the church congregation during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then the SGB application provide a flexible for congregants to be able to attend service synchronously or asynchronously in the midst of large scale social restriction set by the Indonesian government. And then SGB is broadcast through a social media channel that commonly used the community, namely YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, with the aim serving the congregation through choice digital platform. And then furthermore, yeah, smart church broadcasting is able to work by digitizing analog equipment such as musical instrument into the dynamic hall. The implementation of the SCB can be applied by using a relatively light funding budget to an abundant budget which the adapted to its church. Thank you, committee.
Yeah,
The time
I
is
think it's a nice presentation. Okay. Any question for our audience? Any question? No? Okay, just one question for me. What is your future study for developing this research, Mr. Dania?
the future study that can be hope that the implementation of the FCB. This is based on the SCB can be applied in the church worship. So in the pandemic era in COVID-19, as we know, yeah, we have some restriction of the government of Indonesia, so that the congregation can directly face to face. So our future research is the we can blend with the face to face and the interface to interface worship in the church, something like that.
Okay, thank you. I think it's nice presentation because you are in a hurry. Now you can leave this room.
Okay.
Careful.
Yes.
I hope the vaccine does well.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay. Now continue with the next presenter. I will call Mr. Miftahul Amin or Miss Yevi.
Okay, Mrs. Oki,
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah.
Okay, I will share screen. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For, for moderator and all participants in room 10, in here I will present my paper with the title, the implementation of web service as data integrator in higher education. I am Miftahul Amin and my team, Mrs. Yafi Dwitayanti. We are from Polytechnic Negeri Sriwijaya, Palembang, South Sumatra. The motivation of this research is we see that in the higher education there are various information system and require the up-to-date data, integrated and cross-platform information. And in my college, there are various systems too, such as information academic, human resources, and other information system. And now we need to mechanism why to integrate various information system in one system. We can now see that in information system now we can make from different database, programming language, operating system, and network operating system. And the result of this research, we want to use in the developing information system, such as executive information system and business intelligence system. And in this paper, we are use RESTful web service as the engine to make integrator system who integrate some various information system. And the concept of web service, we have to protocol. There are SOAP protocol and REST protocol. And the left table, we have some characteristic of REST and SOAP. Some characteristic we can see that REST and SOAP have some characteristics such as XML extensibility, RPC or remote procedure call, HTTP request response, and HTTPS to building integrated information system. And in this paper, we propose RESTful web service and as a method to integrate some information system. And in the implement state implementation, we have some interface such as in left figure. We have in there JSON data that translated into web browser. We now have 24 URI in the server integrator, and each URI have post, put, get, and delete method to interaction between server and user on between server and other information system. And then in the development of integrator system in here, we can pulling on push some data from the integrator system to in here we developing a business intelligence system to integrate some information system from various information system to business intelligence system. In here we can have some experiment how to pull data or push data from integrator system to business intelligence system. Like here, some graph or statistic data to visualization in business intelligence. And in the performance of RESTful web service here, we do some measurement. In here, we have payloads in bytes and time in millisecond to view performance of RESTful web service. We can see that this system is powerful and very speed in integrated information system also faster. And the conclusion, we have some item that RESTful web service model with HTTP method can be used as function to integrate various information system in higher education. And in the next implementation, the integrator system can be as a short system for some applications such as executive information system and business intelligence. And because the data that translated from server and client using JSON data, it is very powerful that some programming or database system support this JSON data. Thank you. Until here my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Mr. Miftahul Amin. Any question for audience, from audience? No question? Okay, I will ask just one question for Mr. Miftahul. What do the X and Y axis on the graph show?
Okay, Mrs.
What do the X and Y axis on the graph show in your presentation?
The graph.
Graphic.
Yes, graphic.
X and Y axis. There is no variable in X and Y axis. You can show the presentation.
Okay, my presentation.
Yeah. In graphic.
In here?
No. 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. X and Y axis.
Oh yes. In y-axis here is.
It's what per meter.
Yes. In here it is payload. And the x-axis is URI in the system integrator. And in here is data about some payload that payload by blue line, and the orange line is time in millisecond. It is so that this system is stable. If the data is slow, the time response slow too, and the data very high, the response is in the very slow. That is Mrs. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I think it's a nice presentation.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Miftahul Amin.
Thank you, Mrs.
Okay, we will continue with the next presenter, Mr. Desapta. Mr. Desapta.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, the time is yours.
So I need to share my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, so my slide is just this one. If you need to open the data set and also the manuscript, you can scan this QR code in the right-hand side. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this session. My paper here is titled Reusable Data is the New Oil. I'm presenting this paper on behalf of the other co-authors. This is Yuniarti Ulfa, this is Astika Pamumpuni, Indra Dinata, Thomas Triadi, and Hari Siswoyo. We're a group of scientists from 3 universities, ITB, myself, Yuniarti, and Astika, also Indra, Diponegoro University, Pak Thomas, and also University of Brawijaya, Pak Hari Siswoyo. So this paper is kind of raising the awareness of the availability of data. As you can see here in a small cartoon that I drew, we see that scientists usually looking for data in a forest of documents, but the data itself is rarely can be found, because usually we has these documents, whether is it thesis, reports, publication and journal articles, all the data is combined into a single PDF that cannot be found. So everyone, scientists need to open the package before he or she can take out the data. Internationally, data sharing is the new talk of the town, has been the main issue since at least 10 years ago. So an initiative, international initiative, FAIR Data, has released these 4 principles to share data. In short, we can say it's FAIR. F-A-I-N-R. F is findable. So the data should be findable, searchable by machine, by crawlers, by Google, by any other searching engine that you have, and also by the indexing service like Google Scholar, Lens, Dimension, and so on. The second principle is accessible. So once you share your data, it should be accessible. It can be downloaded, it can be seen, it can be opened without further restriction, without further user and password. For example, you can scan this QR code and you will be directed to our repository contain the data. The third principle is interoperable. So once your data is downloaded, it should be open by all available software that available in the market, right? Say if you share a table, you should share it in Excel format or CSV format, the most traditional text format that can be opened by most of available software right now. So it's the meaning of interoperable. The last one is reusable. Reusable means all your data must be should be able to be reused by other scientists, right? If you share your data and then people can download it, can open it, and also can analyze, right? Use the data for their own purposes. So it's FAIR, F-A-I-N-R. And now this is the situation of journal publishing in Indonesia. We combine Indonesian journal and international journal that listed in Scopus. One is IJOP, the second is Geoplanning Journal from Diponegoro University. The third is Indonesian Journal of Geography. And then we compare it with Nature Geoscience, annual review of Earth and planetary science, and also Earth system science data. So the total journal is 6 journals, 3 from Indonesia and 3 from outside Indonesia. And most of all of the journals published by Indonesian institution don't have a data sharing policy. So we look at the website and we search for the guidelines in data sharing, and we cannot find one. And also data sharing as supplementary materials. So we see that most of the journal in Indonesia use OJS system, and OJS offer a feature called supplementary materials that rarely have been used by the authors, Indonesian authors especially. So actually we can upload the data as an attachment or supplementary materials, but none of the papers published in these journals are related to any supplementary data, especially the raw data. Whereas the international journals in these examples all have data sharing guidelines, right? And most of the and all of the journals endorse the authors to share the data by putting it in open repository, right? Like Figshare, the one that we use here in the QR code. All the data must be licensed Creative Commons, so everyone can use the data without further restriction, and also they won't get any problem with the copyright and also intellectual property rights. So all the data must be uploaded and put and shared using Creative Commons license. So this is the two main messages in our paper here. So first is data sharing is very important to make sure that science can progress, right, further and faster. Yeah, data sharing is very important to make sure of that. And the second is intensive training in research data management is very much needed. Here we can mention LIPI via its organization PDDI. LIPI had arranged several webinars discussing about research data management, and also several Indonesian librarians also have endorsed the practice of open data sharing with via several webinars that recorded on YouTube. Thank you very much. And my name is Dasapta Erwin. I work as a lecturer in hydrogeology in Institut Teknologi Bandung. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dasapta. I think it's a nice presentation. Okay, any question from audience? No question? Okay, I want to ask just one question. Is
Yes,
there any
please.
specific condition required for implementing this research?
So, sorry, what condition?
Any specific condition for this data?
Okay, in general, we don't have any specific requirements in general, but the most important requirement would be the ownership of the data itself, right? If your data is connected or acquired related to other institution, mostly private sector, then you need to get a data release agreement from the institution. But if your research and your data is based on government funding, public funding, then you won't have any problem by sharing your data, right? We all know that most of the research in Indonesia is funded by the government, right? And not by the private sector. So I think most of our research here should went to the repository, especially the data, and we should embrace data sharing policy and practice, I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dasapta. Okay. Now we will call the next presenter, Miss Yuliana.
Yes.
Yuna.
Yes. Okay, Miss. I will share screen.
The time is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Miss. Okay. Okay. Thank you for my time. I will introduce myself. My name is Yuniana Chainingrum. I will present it, my research in our team. This title is Fuzzy Expert System for Indicator and Quality Evaluation of Teaching and Learning Process Online Study Program. And this is table of content in our discussion. Introduction, and then second research method, and then third result and discussion, and then conclusion. Okay, this introduction, content of problem statement. That's one. The quality of education is very important, starting from the student admission process, the learning process while being a student, and the student's academic achievement. Assessing and presentation of monitoring lecturer performance still uses a manual process. And then the aim of the research is designing and realizing an information system for monitoring and evaluating the quality of the online teaching and learning process using the Fuzzy Expert System algorithm. And then this research method. And Fuzzy Logic is the main constituent of the Fuzzy Expert System. Fuzzy Logic and the pattern as how human thinks. Therefore, Fuzzy Logic is used to handle information and has inappropriate terms. For example, Heck is Heck and H is young. And the main components of the Fuzzy Expert System are Fuzzifier, Inference Engine, Fuzzy Knowledge Base, and Diffusifier. In this research, we use the Tsukamoto method in extension because this monotonous reasoning and the Tsukamoto method is also used to make important decisions that are applied to a system with only one rule. And the Tsukamoto's methods contains implications of any causal rules or input-output implications consequently in the form of event. And then the resulting output is a value for each fuzzy rule in the form of a script value based on the 5-string and antecedent. And then the expert system used can be the head of study program or the person who is used as an expert in the assessment. And then this is a framework of the Fuzzy Expert System and the Tsukamoto method we use. This is the process is input with fuzzy value based on 10 assessment parameters, and then determine the degree of membership function, and then calculating predicate of loss, and then diffusification, and then output results, good, enough, and less, and then n. And then the framework is user from this is classification, and then any inference engines, knowledge base, and diffusification from the main expert. And then this is result and discussion. This result and discussion from the table parameter assessment result we can example with sample x1 until x10. Then x1 is parameter attendance of lecturers and students. X2 the suitable of the lecturer material with the curriculum. X3 academic atmosphere development activities. X4 student skill assessment. X5 suitable of learning support facilities and infrastructure. X6 the performance of educational personnel according to the level of service satisfaction up to students in the learning process. X7 student attitude assessment. X8 student knowledge assessment. X9 lecturers employee assessment, and then X10 lecturer performance in teaching clarity by using technology. This is the evaluation. And then this is the process of classification from parameter X1 until X10. This is if less, enough, good, and then the rules in the resource of education. This is sampling. That's rules if attendance of lecturer and student good, and conformity of lecturer material with curriculum good, and activities of developing academic atmosphere good, and assessment of student skill goods, and appropriateness of learning support facilities and infrastructure good, and performance of education staff good, and then there is good, and then if membership function if predicate, this is good for active. And then diversification. This is we find that the number is 88 to good, and the table 2 is assessment and evaluation of the results. This is a sample from value 1 until 10, and then the system can be results good, enough, and then less. And the conclusion is in our research, and the first is the system that has been built has been realizing using the FuzzyExpert system. And the system built can perform fuzzy assessment with several assessment parameters using expert system knowledge base. And then the system is built based on the reports on the results of the assessment and evaluation in the range of 80 until 100 good, and then enough, and then less. Yes, thank you, Miss Oki, in this class.
Okay, thank you, Miss Yuniana. I think it's nice presentation. Your title is FuzzyExpert system
Yes.
For indicator and quality evaluation of teaching and learning process. What is the between teaching and learning process?
Teaching and learning process. Teaching is in these activities is to inform and to explain the audience or participant or is always usually in campus, and then and if the learning process is commonly on or usually there is in campus.
I think it's the same, learning and teaching activity in campus.
In this research, in that is activity in campus, Mom.
So they are different or same?
There is
activities in teaching and what activities in learning?
Yes, in activity in different, but in this research there is can merge. Yes, this is different activities, Mom.
Okay, thank you for the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mom.
Any question from audience?
I want to ask.
No.
Oh yeah, Mr. Chakim.
Why you choose the Sakamoto method?
Not clear. I think it's not clear.
Why you choose the Sakamoto method in
Yes.
and not other commonly used in physiology?
Okay. Yes. I choose the Sakamoto method in our research because it is used monotonous reasoning, and the Sakamoto method is also used to make important decisions that are applied to a system with only one rule. This is so simple. I think is it good?
Simple.
Yes. I think.
Okay.
Mr. Chakim, thank you.
Any question? No?
No.
Okay, we will continue
Thank you.
with the
Thank
next.
you, Mrs. Oki.
You're welcome. We continue with the next presenter, Miss Gina. Miss Gina?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the time is yours.
Is my presentation, can you see my presentation?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Please, you can share screen. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the time. Let me introduce myself. My name is Gina from Master of Information System Diponegoro University Semarang. Now I will present about sentiment analysis for user satisfaction video on demand application with long short-term memory model. This is the table of contents for my presentation. The first is introduction, literature review, implementation, and the last is experiment. And the research background for my presentation is there is a lot of competition in the video on demand business application in Indonesia, such as Netflix, Video, WeTV, Disney Plus, and etc. And the second is a customer review. So before a customer buy some product or service, they will read the review first to make sure about the product or service is a good. And the third is the sentiment analysis. In the previous research, the researchers explain about document level classification, which carried out using English dataset. And in my research, I use Indonesia review datasets from Netflix. And this is the survey by Populix that show the application of video on demand in Indonesia, and the first is Netflix, View, Video.com, iFlix, and the last is GoPlay. And this is the solution from the background research is the customer review classification using LSTM models, because LSTM has a good performance in language modeling because it has the ability to represent text or sentence sequentially. And the second is sentiment analysis used by companies to understand customer opinions on a product. So the research objective is the applying the long short-term memory method for the classification of video on demand customer satisfaction in Indonesia based on the review. And then the benefit is of this research is the knowledge that the application of the long short-term memory method can reproduce a classification of video on demand customer satisfaction in Indonesia based on the text review. So the literature review are the first is a word2vec. Word2vec is a word embedding method to process words from the large dataset using a neural network model. This method will produce a vector representation of each word. And the second is LSTM model. Is the one type of recurrent neural network which has the advantage of predicting and studying sequential data. And the implementation of LSTM in several applications show a good result, especially in speech recognition applications, speech synthesis, language modeling and translation, and the handwriting recognition. So this is the research procedure in my research. The first is study literature. The second is dataset preparation. In the dataset preparation, the first step is the dataset collecting from review from the Play Store using crawling method. And after that, I did the pre-processing for the dataset. And then the next step is the representation word embedding using word2vec. After the dataset preparation, the next step is for the training and the testing using the method and the dataset. And the result of this research is sentiment polarity. Sentiment polarity are positive and negative. So the data description of this research is used in this study is 2,000 review data from users of video on demand application. To prepare the data set, there are three stages, namely data collection by namely data collection by manually preprocessing and word embedding representation using word2vec. In this study, I used two sentiment polarity labels were used, namely positive and negative. And then the experiment result using the Keras library, the LSTM model was built using SGD for optimization models for LSTM layers to dense layers and softmax activation in output layers. The experiment using 100 epoch and 0.001 for learning rate. The 200 datasets are divided into training data and test data with a value of 80% for training and 20% for testing. And the result is the accuracy is 0.739, the recall is 0.7381, the precision result is 0.7381, and the F1 measure is 0.7381. So this is the conclusion, the result of the evaluation of a video on-demand user review dataset in Indonesia, and average score of precision is 73.81%, and the recall is 73.81%, and the F1 score is 73.81%. In addition, the accuracy obtained is 73.90%, can be used as a consideration for a company in knowing user sentiment. This is my reference. Thank you very much.
Okay, interesting presentation, Ms. Gina. Any question from audience?
Can I ask?
Okay. Ms. Siti.
I want to ask you, Ms. Gina, about the result on your study. I saw earlier that recall, precision, and F1 measure is in the same result. Is there any reason about this result, Ms.? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Ms. Siti for the questions. Honestly, until now, I'm still looking for why the evaluation results obtained are the same. Maybe there are several factors that cause this happen, such as the data or the the print of the results, the cara show the result from the training and testing process. And then after that, maybe there are several errors for my training models. Thank you.
It's enough, Ms. Siti?
Enough, man. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Gina. And now we continue with next presenter. I will call Mr. Hakim Anubaha. Mr. Hakim. Okay, the time is yours. Excuse me, your speaker. Please unmute.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
First of all, I am Hagen Anubaha from Undip Postgraduate Information Systems. Here I will present my paper which is also my thesis research entitled Implementation of Eigenfix method in supercomputer machine for face recognition and information system. The table of content is introduction, face recognition.
Excuse me.
Yes.
You not share your presentation? Please share it. Yes. Please full screen, please.
The table of content is introduction, face recognition, material and method, result, and the last conclusion. Introduction is manual attendance system, difficulty to detect pattern attendance, and request recept still use system that are less practical and expensive. Manual attendance system. Before the advent of digital attendance machine, student attendance was recorded manually by signing out calling name. However, it takes a lot of time, it's less effective and efficient. Among that, shortcoming of manual attendance are was of paper, less accuracy, and data process takes longer. Difficulty detecting student attendance. When the class contains more than 30 students, it will take a long time due to manual attendance by carrying names one by one. And it will also be difficult to detect if one student is absent but his friend is absent. And 3. Previous research. Literature review from previous research that still use a less practical system such as attendance with a QR code, which can be scanned remotely via photos sent by someone who has met attendance. Next, face recognition. Face recognition is a biometric technology where we apply things to the system besides only retina recognition, fingerprint, and iris recognition. In the Eigenfix method, coding is carried out by calculating the eigenvector and representing them in a matrix. Eigenvectors are also expressed as facial characteristics. Therefore, this method is called eigenface. Its face is represented in a linear combination of eigenface. Next, the material and method. In this, from this design of the ecosystem, we can see that first we input facial data, then it's processed in the database. Check whether the data is in storage or not. If not, then we output data in the form of data storage in the database. If data has been saved, then the next process is data is converted in 1D form. Then data validation and training data are carried out. Then the data eigenfix value is calculated, specified using SVM, so as to produce output in the form of face data text result. Next, SVM support vector machine. SVM refers to supervised machine learning, widely used for the classification process and regression analysis. In the image, in the illustration above, plot B is able to get the optimal machine with the maximum sent to the class training data points from the each class. Will the C plot as to like a machine which can result in more data from each class must be directed properly, which will increase data classification error later. The next general view of system. This is an overview of the feature of the mobile application attendance information system, include login, dashboard, and feature when certain to fetch attendance. And the next method implementation. After student do fetch attendance through a mobile application, in this study, this test was carried out with 10 attendance trial conducted with 10 people with a dataset of 20 data and 10 data. For the page position is the position of the page facing forward. Figure 1, trial of 10 data, and figure 2, test of 20 data. And the last conclusion, the implementation of the page detection information system using the asynchronous algorithm in the support machine process a very good level of accuracy, namely the page accuracy for recognition page data output of 91%. Thereby, the detection system can be used as a reference for student attendance test of mobile Android. Thank you very much for your attention and time. Then
Okay.
I will return to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hakim. Any question from audience?
Yes, Miss.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chakim, from your research, I will ask you to which is better, face recognition with 20 data or 10 data?
In the picture, yes, it is better than data or 20 data. The more pixel data that is trained, the greater the chance that pixel data will be recognized. But the time it takes to recognize face is a little longer. Do you understand?
Okay, yes, thank you.
Any question? May I ask you a question, Mr. Hakim?
Yes.
Okay, just one question. Why you choose that method, PCA and SVM? What are the advantages of that method?
HCM,
PCM, eigenvalue, eigenphase, and SVM.
eigenphase is very good to face recognition. And SVM is method classification in class for data face recognition.
In your research,
Yes.
PCM method in eigenphase you use for classified data. Classification
data is to class for data face data name is again for classification data 1 and
you use two methods you combine. or just one by one method? First, Eigenbase, and then SVM. Which one?
One by one method.
Oh, one
We
by
have to classification face data,
one.
and then the
You're classified with SVM.
yes,
Okay, and the accuracy is from SVM result.
accuracy SVM result from time data and from range data.
Okay. Yes, I think it's very nice, your research. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Now we will continue with Miss Yevi. Miss Yevi with Witayanti.
Oke, Miss, terima very much for this session. Miss Oki Win Nurhayati as a moderator in this session, and all participants are listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On this occasion, please allow me and my partner from State of Polytechnic of Sriwijaya to present our research with the title The Group Decision Support System Model of Research Proposal Assessment using Researcher Track Record and Research Output. The introduction in this research. In carrying out research activities, each lecturer must go through the selection stage, both administrative selection and substance selection. The selection stage aims to ensure that the research proposal meets the standard and is eligible for funding. At the selection stage, there are obstacles in determining the weight and assessment of proposal carried by reviewer, with the tend to be subjective and less measurable. In addition, the assessment of research proposal has only focused on the substance of the research without considering the aspect of the research track record and research output. The purpose of the research is important to do in an effort to present an alternative assessment of research proposal by taking into account the aspect of the researcher profile and the outputs that will be generated from the research. It aims to improve the quality of research and productivity of research activity career. Next, system architecture model of GDSS. The model used in this research was SMART, Simple Multi-Attribute Rating Technique, to conduct ranking individually from the decision maker and for aggregating using border method. And then determining the number of criteria, we can see that in table 1, criteria 1, description track record of researcher. This is a preference weight 30%, and then criteria 2, description research substance, preference weight 40%, and then criteria 3, research output, preference weight 30%, and totally is 100%. In table 2, researcher track record criteria. We can see that this is 4 criteria. Quantity and quality of publication in scientific journal, quality and quantity of publication in scientific proceeding, quality and quantity of book with ISBN, and then acquire status of intellectual property. And then we will see table 3 about research substance criteria. This is 10 criteria relevant of research proposal to area of focus them and research topic. Kemudian and then relevant of research proposal to university strategic plan, quality and relevant of research objective, problem set of the art, method and novelty, the relationship of the research proposal to the research result obtained previously and future plan, appropriateness of research assessment and division of tasks, sustainability of research schedule, the suitability of the research budget plan, TKT, target fairness target, and then current primary source bibliography, reference funding support, and the last, participation of research collaboration partners. In the table 4, we can see criteria 1, publication in reputable international journal, publication in international journal, publication in accredited national journal, publication in national journal, publication in international conference proceeding, publication in the proceeding of the national conference, and then book, copyright, patent, the last associated technology. And then in table 5, we can see this is a normalization weight of each criteria. This is, we can see that normalization 0.3, 0.4, 0.3, and the accumulation is 1. And then table 6, we can see rating by on example, we can see that criteria A1 until A5. This is from reviewer 1, and then this is from reviewer 2, and from reviewer 3. In table 9, we see final result of SMART method ranking. In this reviewer 1 and reviewer 2 and reviewer 3, we can see criteria A2 ranking 1, and kemudian from reviewer 2, I mean criteria A2, and then reviewer 3 criteria A1. And then in table 10, we use Bordacon score. In Bordacon score, we can see that Bordacon A1 7, A2 10, A3 3, A4 4, and A5 5. And then the last final ranking on Borda. Ranking 1, A2, ranking 2, I1, ranking 3, I5, and ranking 5, A4, and ranking 5, A3. Conclusion. Based on the result and discussion that have been described, some conclusion can be drawn as follows. The GDSS model can be used as a tool to improve the quality, efficiency, effectiveness, objectivity, and accuracy of the assessment process conducted by research reviewer at 3M Sriwijaya State Polytechnic. The SMART model can be used as an alternative in ranking the weight that have been given by the reviewer independently, and then using the Borda method aggregation can be done to produce the best ranking order in determining the research proposal recommended for funding. Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you for your attention. Good afternoon and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Miss Yevi Dwitayanti. Now we continue with the question. Any question from audience? Any question? No? Okay, I will ask you one question about
Okay.
your method. You use SMART and Burda method in your
Yes.
research.
Yes, Miss.
What is the advantage of the Burda method?
We think both methods are quite simple in calculation, and then can implement in program with model SMART and Borda.
Okay, you use tools in your result?
Yes.
You use tools?
Yes,
or
program.
Program. What program?
Maybe my partner can be explain more.
Oh, it's team.
Yes, yes, my team
Oh.
is Miftahul Amin, kan beliau programming.
Oh, I see. Okay, I think it's a nice presentation, and thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now we continue with the next presenter. I think it's last presenter, Miss Siti Nur Khotimah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the time
Can
is
you hear
yours.
my voice?
Yes, the time is yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you see my presentation here?
Yes, please, you can full screen your presentation.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you for the time. First of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Nur Khotimah. I'm from Diponegoro University. Today I will present my paper about chronic kidney disease diagnosis system using sequential backward feature selection and artificial neural network. And this is the table of content of my presentation. There is introduction, method, implementation, result and discussion, conclusion, and reference. For the introduction, the interest of the number in the patient suffering from chronic kidney disease, which continue to occur every year, make this disease one of the diseases that is included in the global public health problem, which is in the poor handling and the lack of public awareness about this disease can lead to more severe kidney damage in the future, and the medical treatment will immediately be carried out based on the early diagnosis that occurred in the patient. Diagnosis itself is an activity that has to do with collaboration between clinical reasoning and information gathering to determine the health problem. There are many factors that can be categorized into diagnosis of chronic kidney disease at early stage. And the main focus of this study is to select the diagnosis that the most influence chronic kidney disease from the medical records that contain a lot of information from patient. And the method applied in this study is divided into two steps. First step is to select the disease diagnosis that have many influence by implementing sequential feature selection. And the second step is to use the best diagnosis result as input to an artificial neural network algorithm. And there have been many previous studies regarding the diagnosis or related chronic kidney disease, whether using text data or image data, but I use one of the previous studies as an example. This is chronic kidney disease prediction, which compares the prediction of neural network algorithm and support vector machine algorithm. And the method in this study is first is feature selection. Feature selection is a technique in the data pre-processing, which is useful for reducing data by removing features that are considered unimportant from the dataset used. And the feature selection are divided into four categories. First, filter method that can filter out features before implementing to machine learning algorithm. And the second is wrapper method, which select the feature that are considered the best. And the third, embedded method, which measure the usability of feature subset, and the last is hybrid method, which combine one or more feature selection. And next, sequential feature selection is a method in the feature selection, which able to evaluate features that are not selected by referring the selected features. Sequential backward feature selection is a method that aims to reduce the number of feature or dimension of the data used. It has advantage and disadvantage. The advantage of this method is the most suitable for use in the application of artificial neural network. And the disadvantage is this method is not able to evaluate the usefulness of the feature after the feature is removed. And next, about artificial neural network. Artificial neural network is a method that represents the most basic level to imitate the type of nonlinear learning that occur in the neural network of the brain. So the method is based on how the brain works to establish an accurate connection. Backpropagation algorithm is one of the general algorithm used in the application of artificial neural network method. And then there are 3 stages in the backpropagation algorithm. First, feed-forward stage, and then backpropagation stage, and the last is the weight adjustment stage. For the implementation, the steps in this study are divided into 2 steps. First step is to select diagnosis that has a lot of influence by implementing the sequential backward feature selection. This algorithm will eliminate features that are considered to have little influence when compared to other features. Well, the second step is the feature consisting of the best diagnosis used as input to artificial neural network classification algorithm. And the dataset itself, the dataset is divided into 2 classes. The first class is chronic kidney disease class, and the other is chronic kidney disease acute class. With a total of 50 data, which is 35 data in the kidney disease class, and the 15 data is in chronic kidney disease acute class. There were 18 diagnoses used in the study and 1 class. About the method implementation, the sequential backward feature selection method eliminates diagnosis features that are considered to have little influence compared to the other diagnosis feature, and the features that are considered the best diagnosis are used as an input to the artificial neural network classification algorithm, and the final result of the study show the best feature of the 18 existing features and also accuracy of the result. And the result and discussion in this study, based on the 18 diagnosis features that are used as input in the process of finding the best diagnosis feature using sequential backward feature selection, the remaining 15 features are considered the best by the system. With the combination of this 15 diagnosis feature and accuracy of 86% is obtained, while the other 3 features of such as pale, appetite, and other disease is eliminated automatically in the process because this feature are considered the less influence feature compared to the others. 15 selected diagnosis feature are used to input in the artificial neural network classification, and the distribution of the dataset carried out in the 70 for training data, 15 for validation data, and the 15 for testing data. And this is table of the comparison result between the using of sequential backward feature selection and with using without using and with using sequential backward feature selection. And the discussion, the study using sequential backward feature selection and artificial neural network propagation has its own advantages and disadvantages. Based on the result in the table, sequential backward feature selection has the advantage that it can choose the best combination of the diagnosis features, so that there is no need to use all of the features to perform the diagnosis. But sequential backward feature selection has its advantage that it's not able to evaluate the feature that has been eliminated previously. So it's possible that there are features which are actually useful for the diagnosis but are eliminated by the system. And the conclusion is the implementation of the method is able to select 15 of the 18 diagnosis feature, and by using 15 diagnosis feature as an input for classification using artificial neural network, obtain accuracy of 88%. The result of this study can be influenced by the type of the data set, which is in the study, more than half of data is in binary value. And it should be noted about the use of sequential backward feature selection because the method is unable to re-evaluating the diagnostic feature which have been eliminated previously. This is the reference about to my paper. And thank you for your attention.
Okay, Miss Siti Nur Khotimah. I think it's nice presentation. Any question from audience?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to ask to Miss Ima, why you choose a feature selection method in your paper? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. The reason why I choose this method is a sequential backward feature selection is able to eliminate the unimportant feature based on all feature are used in the study. But actually there are another method in this sequential feature selection, such as forward feature selection and plus L minus R selection. But among this method, I chose backward feature selection since it the most suitable one for artificial neural network, and it can eliminate, so we can get the right number of features among all features we use in the study. It is enough.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any question? Because it's Miss Siti Nur Khotimah, the last presenter. Okay, no question. I want just ask one question for Miss Nur Khotimah. What is your reason for dividing the data into training, validation, and what is it? Testing data? Why you choose 70 for training data and 15 for validation and testing data?
I choose the divided number. I refer to my first journal in my main journal.
Yeah.
So I use the divided number for training and validation and testing.
Okay. Okay. From previous research.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Miss Siti Nur Khotimah. I think is the end of parallel session. Yeah. Please turn on the camera. We will take some picture with all presenters.
Oke, sebelum kita mengakhiri, untuk itu di semua peserta untuk mengon-kan kameranya. Ini yang Martini.
Bukan presenter di room 10 yang Bu Martini. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Once
Okay,
again,
okay.
Bu.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Oke, terima kasih.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your kind attention during this session. I hope we can get benefit and wider knowledge from every research that presenters had shared today. Please give applause for all of us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you,
Miss.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Stay healthy and
Assalamualaikum
safety.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bu Oki, teman-teman.
Sama-sama.
Ya,
Semuanya.
Dan selalu
pamit,
ya.
pamit, Sin.
Yuk,
Terima kasih.
ya.
Yuk, dadah. Cindy.
Oke.